Welcome into the Immigrant Podcast. I'm your boy Nikolai Hill. Program is brought to you by Nothing But Net International. Unprecedented times here in the United States. First of all, I want to say we're a few days away from the general elections. Of course, Kamala Harris, should I say, and Governor Walz will be vying for the vote of the American public against, of course, Donald Trump, who's going to be vying for president for the third time. And he'll be supported by maybe a possible future vice president in the future, J.D. Vance. So that's where we're headed here in 2024. And the election should be a very hot button topic coming up here in the next few days. You know, you got to go out there and vote. But the topic we wanted to talk about today is the cost of living and how our specific segments of our population dealing with the rising cost of pretty much everything. You know what I mean? And one of the specific group I wanted to target today, I wouldn't say target, but I wanted to pay attention today are the Gen Zers, because for my generation, I'm a little bit older. I'm a 40 plus guy, and people before me, my parents, they were able to cut costs by just not needing a lot of things. In this instance, I'm doing this on my phone, and this is something that we're doing with social media, and that's something that you have these days. And these kinds of devices are literally mandatory for our population. So that's an added cost for these young people they have to pay for these days. So of course, with just little things like a cell phone, these can range in $800 to $1,000. That's something that the generation before this, Generation X, and generation before that didn't really have to worry about. So the cost of everything. But on top of that, it's been compounded by price gouging. And a lot of these companies that are, of course, setting the price lines and price limits for things, just basic necessities, basic food and foods in America are increasing in prices, and we don't know where they're coming from. Now, one of the explanations could be that, of course, exporting goods into the country. Of course, a lot of our things that we eat here and like we use here in this country are made outside of the country. So, of course, shipping tariffs, taxes, and overall the cost to bring those goods when it comes to the shipping part with the gasoline and oil, those things are going up. And that's not just a U.S. thing. Those things are set, and those prices are increasing around the world just like it is here. But we see on a daily basis the price of basic necessities when it comes to groceries like eggs and milk and bread. Those are going up as well. We're wondering how the Gen Zers are dealing with that. And because it's a generation that has grown up on Uber and Uber Eats, and it's a generation that hasn't needed to adjust because of the cost of things just getting out of hand. Now, let's pay attention to the fact that for salaries are going up as well. A lot of these young people and Gen Zers, they're very educated. Getting an education is far more mandatory, especially a college education, than it was to previous generations. It's more accessible to get a college education. It's not just a financial inhabitation, should I say? I don't know if that's the word I should use, but finances don't necessarily inhabit you or inhibit you from getting an education, because there are grants and there are loans and things like that you can get if you're a Gen Zer. So their education of these young people are going up, and so it's mandatory that when they graduate college, and so they're looking for opportunities that will pay them in excess of 50, 60, sometimes $100,000. Those job opportunities are just not there like you would think they are. 99% of the population actually makes under $40,000 a year. It sounds incredible, but that's just facts. 99% of the U.S. population makes below $40,000 a year. So we know that the things are going up, but your wages aren't reflecting the cost increases that are happening in America. So the question that we're a question-based program these days. Question I would want to ask, if there are any Gen Zers watching this program today, is how are you dealing with the increases in cost of living, paying rent? We know that this generation, they're buying homes, but it's not a necessity like previous generations were to own a home. So we just want to know, what are Gen Zers doing? Are they still Ubering? Are you still ordering Uber Eats? Are you cutting back on every version of your iPhone? Are you driving without insurance? And so these are some of the questions we want to ask Gen Zers, because overall they're doing a good job of being the head of the planet right now. Young people are taking over the construct of the world. Things are modern, just not because we're going through a technology boost, but because young people are very innovative and they're finding ways to make more money more now than our ancestors did. Of course, technology is a big reason for that. So get back to us here in the podcast, in your immigrant podcast. The question is, how are the Gen Zers coping with the cost of living increases in America, in the current America? It's been a pleasure having your time. I'm your boy Nikolai Hill. Take it easy.